Hello, everyone. Welcome to ELI, the place where you get your daily dose of inspiration for entrepreneurship. And today we have with us Akash Sharma, who is the co-founder of Farmley, which is a dry fruits and nuts specialist brand. Hi, Akash. Welcome to ELI.
Hi, thank you, Priya. Great to be here.
Akash, I would request you to introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a bit about your pre-entrepreneurial journey before starting Farmley. Chronologically, take us through about your pre-entrepreneurial journey.
Sure. So I come from a very small city in Rajasthan, a very small tier three city by the name Bharatpur, and I completed my entire schooling till 10th standard there. And very early in days in my childhood. So since I come from a very rural background, I had seen very closely the entire farming businesses. My ancestors had their own mustard growing farms,
Wow.
and they also had their own milling units of farm and of mustard. This is in those times where there was no mechanization at all. So there used to be a lot of manual practices to get those mustard oil seeds to kind of and extract out the oil. So I was fascinated into this entire agri bit and agri processing space really right since the childhood because I was very closely seeing it. 11th and 12th, very like most of the most of the people from small towns was fascinated into joining some IIT, and I kind of got into JE coaching.
Hmm.
Went to Kota, typical 2 years of life in Kota, which was pretty. When today I when I when I look back at it, it was pretty exciting, I would say. But
Mhm.
yes, during those 2 years, it was a pretty hard journey. And of course, thanks to my parents' support, etc., a lot of things went well. And then after my 2 years there, I joined IIT Delhi. I joined the BTech in mechanical engineering in 2010.
Mhm.
The 4 years of my and the decision of joining IIT Delhi also, when I was taking this, I think even at that point there was some bit of thought in my mind that I wanted to really get into entrepreneurship because I had a very difficult decision to make. I could have got, let's say, the kind of computer science engineering in IIT Kharagpur, and a mechanical engineering in IIT Delhi, right? And it was a difficult decision to make, right? At that point, what engineering to choose, and most of the people you would go to would suggest you to choose computer science
Hmm.
because it pays well and everything. There was one specific teacher who used to teach us in Vibrant Academy, which was my coaching institute in Kota. I very vividly remember he told me to specifically join IIT Delhi because he said that the kind of exposure you will get in Delhi, the kind of
Hmm.
people you will meet, the kind of entrepreneurship ecosystem which is in Delhi, that will probably not in a very short term, but in a very longer term will definitely serve you much better than let's say taking going into computer science engineering and probably pursuing something else. That really stuck with me, and of course, eventually I joined Delhi. Uh, Fast forward 4 years, I kind of worked through, and I was part of the entrepreneurship development cell in IIT. I was part of different small groups that keep innovating, that have their own startups. I also worked with some early age startups while I was in IIT. Worked with did some of my internships with the early age startups. So this really, good zeal, the entire ecosystem which IIT Delhi had built, was really, really handy to, help me understand what to do, why to do, and where to do. So after that, I wanted to join some early age startup. This was soon after my graduation because I wanted to see that entire journey from right from inception to how you execute it. So
Hmm.
even in my college campus placement, I specifically chose to join an early age startup, which was at that point of time I joined housing.com. It was a
Wow.
very growing startup back at that point. I got a good opportunity. I was stationed in Bombay. I worked with a very good team. I saw that inception and that rigor of how to really execute things. Something which I had, of course, in my mind, but I didn't really know how to execute. So I
Hmm.
did that. Post that, I uh, start. So 2014, I joined them. After around a year, I basically started up my first venture. That venture was by the name Delivery King, and
Hmm.
we wanted to take last mile delivery services to e-commerce company. It was a B2B startup,
Hmm.
and we worked our best. We scaled up our operations to around 5 6 cities, etc., and we had good clientele. We were serving Snapdeal, we were serving Amazon, Flipkart, etc. But we couldn't turn it profitable. We couldn't raise investment subsequently, and just I think 9 to 10 months from operations, we had to shut down that business.
Mm,
uh, I had personally invested around 20 25 lakhs rupees, just 1 year. Whatever money I had spent during my first year of my job, I kind of spent that money back in the business.
mhm,
But I kind of I lost that money. I went back to take money from my parents during that journey. I still remember posting this quote on Facebook that time to withdraw money from whatever PF money was there. So I had to withdraw whatever small money was there in the PF account. So anyway, those hard things kind of passed off, and then eventually, I worked there for another 1 year with a startup which was based out of Goa, and then post that, since 2016, 2017 is when I met my other co-founder Abhishek, and the two of us, we basically met together, and we started up with this current venture. So it's been more than now 6 years of journey into this. And
mm.
I would say that most of the learnings, most of the things that have been through life in the past 12 years, they are now kind of coming into use into how to run this business.
Cool. So I meet a lot of entrepreneurs every day, and most of them say ki, uh, the first venture most of the times will fail. In fact, you may fail multiple times before you can, successfully build a venture. But the thing is, the entrepreneur who kind of stops experimenting, kind of stops retrying for entrepreneurship, retrying to build a new business, he will fail definitely. So that's, I think that's a fundamental of entrepreneurs. You have to keep trying and keep coming up with new ideas. Even if you fail, you have to pivot again. So tell me one
Right.
thing, after you failed for the first time, you invested a lot of money, almost went bankrupt. How did you, go back to entrepreneurship again? What made you to choose that path?
The next time I was much better prepared. So what I did next time was, like I was saying, for after my first failure, or rather hidden success in my last venture, I basically worked for around a year, in this startup again. And there I basically ensured that, 1.5 years, whatever. So I was one thing which I felt I was lagging in my last business was the ability to stand for a long time. So what I really mean by this is, if you have enough money to just sustain yourself and your business for the next 2 to 3 years, I really believe that, and if you're of course passionate enough, you will find a way out. So
Mhm.
it's just about being there in the journey, being passionate enough, and consistently trying to do your best. So this time I ensured that when I get into this business, I have some basic financial backings that I'm able to sustain for the next 2 to 3 years, even if I earn 0 rupees from this current venture.
Okay.
So I saved up that much money just for basic sustenance. I calculated my rent, I calculated my 2 meals cost, I calculated my other things, and then summed them up and multiplied by them at 24 months. And I was like, okay, now I have, let's say, this much money for sustenance of 24 months. And
Mhm.
now if I even don't earn a single penny for the next 2 to 3 years, I still don't have to really go and depend on anybody else. And that really meant standing in there pivoting. So like you said, it's not just once or twice. You fail multiple number of times. And I really think even in this current venture, though it is still running and everything is going good, but we have pivoted a lot of times. So it's not failure, it's the learning that you get through the ways that you have to keep innovating. uh, Most of the Fortune 500 companies of the 2000s, less than 30% of them are still existent today, right? So business is about innovation at the end of the day. Even best of the best companies fail, and the smallest of the smallest companies become big. So it's about really the ability to stand in there, keep innovating, and keep changing as per the market conditions. If you are doing these three things, and if you have the right capital to back it up in terms of your personal capacity as well as in the company, I think you will eventually find success.
Mm. You said while starting Farmly, you were much better prepared than the last time. I
Right.
want to ask you, how do you prepare for entrepreneurship? Like, what all research did you do? Which all websites did you visit, or any sort of things that you did to ensure that you don't fail again, or you don't you or you come up with a solid plan that's going to last for some time?
See, in my case, it was I think I ensured that I have a mentor this time. What I really felt that I lacked last time was a good teacher, good mentor to really suggest the way forward. So, what I believe fundamentally is in your entire life, right? uh, there are different phases, and in every phase you need a teacher. When we are probably children, our parents are our teachers, but as we grow up, different formats of teachers keep evolving. In a business, you need someone who you can blindly trust, because there are 10 different strategies, or probably 1,000 different strategies, right? 1,000 ways of executing an idea, 1,000 ways of running a business. How do you ensure, and who do you trust in such a cluttered market, in so many pieces of information which are available? So what we really did was, we, from this market, wherever we wanted to start. So ours was a B2B startup back then. In this B2B ecosystem, we found out people who had done well. And in this list of people, we reached out to them on LinkedIn saying, we are just starting this off, and we really need someone who can guide us and mentor us through this journey. And we have been really fortunate that at that point of time, we found Mr. Narayan, who is founder of Power to SME today. It was a very full-fledged running business. It was into B2B space. I just wrote to him on LinkedIn. He thankfully accepted my request, and we kind of met him for the first time. Since then he guide, and then eventually we of course had, two, three more people joining us, sheerly as mentors. They didn't invest or something, but we gave them certain mentor equity because we wanted their interest also to be aligned within the company.
Mm,
And all that we did was, we kept meeting them every week, every day. Whenever we had a problem, whenever we didn't find a solution, whenever we were confused, we would just reach out to them. And whenever, if there were 10 different things that were going on in our head, we would kind of discuss it with them and come out with a strategy, and with their experience kind of solve that. I think that has been one thing which has really worked out for us well. And again, as we have evolved, right? So from a B2B business back in 2017, 18, 19, 20 for 4 years, now we evolved into a consumer brand business in 2021. And then we realized that, now we really need a consumer brand specialist to come on board for us as mentors, as a mentor. Then we kind of, reached out to a couple of people who were who have built large consumer brands, and then we got one of them onboarded as a mentor. So again, like I said, every phase of the journey, have someone you can blindly trust, and really, ask difficult questions, ask where you are wrong. They can blindly tell you, okay, this is the place you're wrong, you're thinking it incorrectly. So that is one. Second, of course, is, you read good books. I think that's one thing which is always given. And thirdly, I think the ability to introspect yourself, and the ability to kind of the ability to be flexible. So, one thing which kind of happened last time was, once I started up in the last business, we kind of carried on the same journey. This time we were flexible. We pivoted so many times, and we were able to do that because there was some self introspection time that I could give to myself. So, every week when we start, Monday to Saturday, I just, 1 hour which where I'm just brainstorming alone on my whiteboard. Just, most of our meetings that we do are just, walking meetings, etc., so that there are good juice of ideas that keeps flowing. I think those have been some of the key learnings that we have been able to identify and execute.
okay. Tell us a bit about family, and before that, tell us about how did you come up with this idea? Like every founder would go through this journey. Like they would shortlist a number of ideas, and they'll then evaluate the market potential, and then they'll finalize this is what we want to do. So tell us about that process. Like how did you create the hypothesis for family, and what is family as per you?
Sure. So see, we were basically, like I said, very motivated to start something in the agri processing side, because that was something which had been close to my heart. Now, with that hypothesis, and I have been a fitness enthusiast myself. I daily cycle. So my home is around 8.5 kilometers from my office, and I cycle every day to my office. I come from cycle, I go by
Wow.
cycle. I run around 5 kilometers daily. So I am a very big fitness enthusiast myself. Even when during these Kota days, right, when I was telling you about, so I used to, whenever I used to go go from home, or when my mom used to come back to Kota, I always, they always used to take back these roasted nuts, roasted fox nuts, or some kind of mixes with made with dry fruits or some homemade material that was healthy to eat. Because
Mhm.
you can have your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but in between these meals, whenever you are kind of hungry, you need some good snacking options, and I wanted some healthier snacking options. So I always used to munch on whatever I get from home, because that was trustworthy. I could not trust what I was getting in in the regular market. It was all in different ways. It was kind of not as healthy as I would have wanted that to be.
Mhm.
So I think these were the two really intersecting points with which we want where we wanted to start. So we wanted to do something in the agri space as well as in those products which make sense in the health sense, right? So which is why we kind of shortlisted to the dry fruits and nuts category, because it was there was a large disruption possible on the agri side of it, because it's a large global uh, uh, large large space from where these materials are procured in the country, large supply chain, multiple middlemen, and henceforth a lot of adulteration that takes place in these products. Also, on the front end side, this is the this category is at a tipping point. It's almost, when we started, dry fruits and nuts was a $7-8 billion market. Today, it's almost a $12 billion plus market, just the dry fruits and nuts. And if you add the healthy, the products which are derived out of dry fruits and nuts, like trail mixes, flavored nuts, etc., it becomes almost a $15 billion market today. So, such a fast growing market that within 4 to 5 years of time, it has almost doubled in its size. So, it was a large growing market, almost devoid of any national level brand, a large value add to be done on the agri processing side. So we really found this industry to be very ripe for disruption, and that's where we kind of we came in the first 4 years, and we believed that it's a very fundamental problem to solve. And it required a lot of time and energy and investment. So which is why we kind of broke this journey into multiple phases. The
Mhm.
first 3 years, 2017 to 2020, 3 to 4 years, we just focused our energies on solving for the supply chain, solving for the procurement, solving for the quality, ensuring that whatever we are getting is of the best quality, and it comes directly to us. It does not have any form of adulteration, etc. For which we basically had to build out 5 manufacturing units, which are stationed across different, right from the easternmost part of India, which is Bihar, to the southernmost part of the country, which is Karnataka and Bangalore. We have different processing units which are stationed at the locations where these products are grown by the farmers, or which are, let's say, very close to, in terms of imported products, very close to the ports where it is imported. We process them. So we take the raw material, we process everything in house. We have different quality standards. We are able to provide incremental benefits to more than 5,000 farmers today that we directly work with. We are able to increase their incomes by 5 to 30% depending upon product to product. And in this process, we are able to procure very high grade quality of products, process them in house, and then aggregate it, and of course do all the value addition, packaging, and then distribute it from there. So I think in this entire thing, what we have been able to achieve is a consistent quality, and then over a period of time, over the period of next 3 years, which is 21 to 23, once we had a good and consistent quality, we solved for building a consumer brand on the top of this, because now we knew that we don't have to really bother about the supply chain. Now it's we have to reach out to the consumers. We have to tell our story to the consumers, why we are better and all these things. And henceforth, this is really where we have been investing. We have been taking out different contents which talk about the kind of adulteration that takes place in dry fruits and nuts, why health, what products you eat today, why they are unhealthy, why are we healthy, what should you eat, how should you eat, how should you consume chia seeds, how do you know whether your almonds are adulterated, how do you make good healthy good recipe out of dry fruits and nuts, how do you consume our makhanas, things like that, primarily focused around just one thing, which is now the vision of the company, which is to ensure that the world becomes healthier by munching on healthy products, which is the core vision, towards which we are working. So, 5 years, 10 years down the line, we really want to be remembered as the company which transformed this entire revolution of the country from, as we millennials kind of take up, central locations and central, thoughts in this entire society. It really becomes imperative that we start eating healthy, and that's how we would drive the country. That's the direction we really want to drive the country in.
Mhm. Any big challenges during your entrepreneurial journey? Like, I'm sure COVID would have been a big challenge because supply chain was disrupted. Any such big challenges that you faced, and how did you overcome them?
I think we face big challenges every day. But if I have to just, let's say, list down the top five, top six challenges, of course, COVID would be one because, that was the tipping point in terms of the entire supply chain crackdown. A lot of our material inventory was stuck at different places. But, eventually, the team stuck around and we were able to finally get all the materials out of the warehouses and get them delivered. The second is, during this journey, there was a time when we were still in the B2B phase where we were still, taking kind of making products and supplying it to B2B companies. In that journey, there was a time where when a large player kind of came into this sector and they wanted they reached out to a lot of our good employees and they wanted to hire all of them, kind of giving them 2x, 3x salaries of what they were getting back at, when we were working with them. So a lot of attrition took place. We didn't know that we would of course not be able to find this company with the kind of money we had. So at that point of time, just good zeal and good people who are attached to the company kind of stuck around, and then again we passed through that journey. Third is all these pivots, all these transitions from one kind of business to the other, right? So when we started this pivot from B2B to consumer brand, a lot of struggle, a lot of past practices, a past infrastructure that we had set up. This entire transition became really difficult and really heavy for us. A lot of money could have got wasted, but we were able to kind of ensure that all the things that we have done till now kind of smoothly transition into when we make this consumer brand, and all the people that we have really and are able to make these skill sets still functional enough so that they are able to utilize those skill sets as we make a consumer brand. We were able to do that. So all these things, I would say, at least these top three things were one of the biggest hurdles that we had to pass while building the
Got
business.
got it. You said you did a lot of pivots to your business model. Can you tell us about some of the top changes to the business model?
So when we started the business, we were kind of purchasing the raw materials from some of the existing processors. At that point of time, we thought that if we get to these processors, primary processors, food processors. So just for you to understand, let's say the format in which makhana is grown, foxnuts are grown. They are grown by the farmers in ponds, then they are processed, then multiple layers of processing happen before they become consumable in that wide format in which we eat, right? So we were procure so this processor who does this processing, we were procuring this quality of raw materials from them and supplying it to the a lot of modern trade or B2B players. When we were doing this, we faced a lot of quality issues. The suppliers were not giving us our set of qualities. When there was peak demand, we didn't used to get quality, and for our customers we were the suppliers, so we didn't kind of we couldn't afford that. So at that point of time, we were initially thinking to make a marketplace model. All the good processors of a product will come onto this marketplace. We will have a defined pricing. We build a large technology, in fact, technology platform also around this. We launched a mobile application around this. And back then, by the way, our name was Technify. Because our primary purpose was to provide this technology to different businesses. So there was a Technify app on the Google on different platforms. So once we were doing this, we realized, this is not working out. We pivoted from there to a manufacturing business. Now we took the manufacturing in our own hand, and we said that no, we will do the manufacturing ourselves because it's a supplier constrained market. That is, good quality supplies is in very limited condition, and if you really need to consistently provide good quality to your customers, you need to do that. There is no other solution, which is why these five manufacturing facilities that I'm speaking to you about today, which are stationed across different locations, we over the period of next 2 3 years stationed, started those manufacturing units, made all the ruling, all the kind of backend integrations with the farmers, with the mandis, with the importers. That was the second pivot. Thirdly, from doing this B2B business, we started kind of packaging for a lot of clients that we used to provide bulk materials to. So, let's say selling some bulk material to Reliance or to DMart or to someone else, to packaging it in their own private label so that they don't have to do that exercise on their face. So we did that third pivot. And now that, lastly, that I said, from B2B business to a consumer brand.
Mm.
So we said, okay, if we really need to get the best value out of the hard work that we have done, we need to be able to reach out to the consumers directly, and they need to know really the benefit of the product quality that we are, giving to them. So that's the last pivot that we did. And I'm sure in the next 10 years, there will still be many pivots that we will continue doing. But that's really the nature of the business, right? If you don't pivot and if you don't learn with the market dynamics, you basically perish.
Right, that's so true.
Hmm.
Wrapping up the interview with my last question. Tell us what are the different lessons that you have learned as an entrepreneur that we can take away and probably apply to our ventures as well.
Sure. So I think first and foremost, of course, is finding the right partner to start with. Right. In my last venture, I didn't have the right co-founder. In this venture, both me and Abhishek, we know each other very well. We come from very closely knit communities. We are very good friends to start with. So I think just like finding a right partner in a marriage is very important.
Mm.
Similarly, finding a right partner, right co-founder in a startup is much more important. You should have, supplementary skill sets, and complementary skill set and things like that. Second, I think I would say is the ability to be flexible. Matlab, is just flexibility, because you never remain you never do what you started up with.
Mm.
The visions keep changing, the missions keep changing. What fundamentally remains is you, your core team, and your enthusiasm. This is what I believe, because eventually over a period of time, you will learn from the market, and the market is much stronger than what you can really think of today. So as those times change, as the market dynamics change, you should be able to be flexible, kind of take the market learnings and pivot if it is required with the with time. Thirdly, I would say that keep reading, and keep a good mentor with yourself. A good book could be a good mentor to you, really.
Mm.
Or of course a good mentor to be a good mentor to you. So keep going back to that book, keep going back to that mentor of yours, and keep asking him or her difficult questions, and then I'm sure we will find the right way. And I think fourth would be just never giving up. That's, I think, always the most fundamental, that there will be tough times. There will be times when you get personally tested. There will be times when you have to make hard decisions. There will be times when you are emotionally exhausted. There will be low times, there will be high times, of course. What fundamentally will always remain there is why you started this. If
Mm.
that thing is clear in your mind, right, why did you really start this at the first place, you will sail through most of these difficult times and kind of turn victorious and emerge victorious at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think I have heard a lot of entrepreneurs say this. You should always remember why you started this, and I think that guides you through the journey. Uh,
Right.
well, on this note, I would say we have come to the end of the session. Thanks for joining us, Akash. It was a pleasure to have you on our platform, and our best wishes for family.
Thank you, Priya. Same here. Thanks a lot for inviting me.
Thank you.